Welcome into October speed reviews. This is the video where I go over all of the stuff that I tested for prior month and I tell you guys what I think is worth your money and what I think isn't. I have 3 different categories I threw all of these items into. Purchase is one category, pass is another where I just don't think it's worth your money. I don't think it's good quality. And then the third category is makeup graveyard. There are some things that I do hold on to because I think they're more expensive and maybe I don't want to declutter them, or they're popular in the industry and so I keep them for reference sake, but I won't personally use them in my everyday collection. So I do cutaways showing you guys everything that I'm talking about that I applied to my face that I was able to get on today, and I talk about the things in order of how I applied them to my face. So without further ado, let's hop into October's speed reviews. We are accompanied by a little 6-year-old today who's having a blast downstairs. So if you do hear him in the background, I apologize, but he's having a great time, so I'm not gonna stop him. So the first item that I wanna talk about is a primer. This one is from Milk Makeup. This is the Pore Eclipse Mattifying Primer. I just have the little mini. If you guys have seen any of my other videos and I talk about where I'm pretty oily skinned these days and I'm trying to find more mattifying foundations and primers and setting sprays and all that stuff, I picked this up because I've been buying and decluttering a ton of mattifying primers recently because none of them have really been working for me. So I thought I would give this one a shot because it had decent reviews at Sephora, and surprisingly, or maybe not surprisingly, I do see a result with this primer. I not only see it diffusing my pores, but also mattifying my face and helping control my oils. Is it a like 100% solution? No. I still do get oily on my nose and my forehead and my chin, the normal places in my T-zone that I get oily, but it's a ton less than I normally do. I don't think this totally like fills in my pores. I think it does kind of immediately, and I notice that fades off as my oils start peeking through. Again, not foolproof. I haven't found anything that is. But if you are somebody that deals with larger pores, or you're looking to mattify your makeup like I am because you're more combo oily skin, I do think this is a purchase. I think this was a good one. This is one that I was so happy that I found that actually did something compared to some of the other, honestly, like drugstore ones I've been using lately. So I think this one is a purchase. Next, I want to move on to brows. This is from One Size. This is the Brow Kiki Micro Brow Defining Pencil. I have mine in the shade Soft Brown. If you've watched any of my other speed reviews, I have talked about it. I'm feeling like ad nauseum at this point, finding a brow product that isn't the Benefit Precisely My Brow, maybe a little bit more affordable, that does a cool tone brown shade that is waterproof. And I have, again, been buying and decluttering a ton of them because I just haven't found a formula that I think is as good and a color match is as good as the Benefit Precisely My Brow. Until this one. This is the first brow pencil that is so closely matched in soft brown to 2.5 in Benefit Precisely My Brow, I could fall off of my chair. Literally almost an identical formula, very creamy, very long lasting. I just love this. You guys, if you're looking for a cool tone shade for browns, I honestly think you should check out One Size. I feel like so many companies do cool tone brow shades terribly. So this is a huge purchase from me. I talk about this all the time as well, but I don't do eyeshadow palettes that I tested in these videos. But what I do is single shadows, stick shadows, anything that isn't kind of in a palette. I have talked about this brand, I think in my last speed reviews. It was the brand Luxaza. They did send me these in PR. They sent me this with a cream stick contour and highlighter, and I didn't review those great because I just felt like there were so many other ones on the market that are better, and those were stiffer and, you know, they didn't do anything revolutionary. However, I hadn't finished testing these. These are their eyeshadow sticks. This is actually a set that comes with 6. All of their sets come in 6s. You can get these on Amazon. They do have a storefront. Like I said, I got these in PR. I love these. These are fantastic. They have a brush on one end, which a lot of people I hear, you know, don't care for the brushes. These are one brush that I absolutely love. I use them all the time to apply these. I think the color stories in these are good. I think you get light shades, you get mid-tone shades, you get deepening shades. You basically get a really versatile color story in these 6 shades. So nice. These are marketed like for travel and ease of use, but the formula is so delightful. They're super easy to work with. Again, the brush, majorly convenient. I actually highly recommend these. The other things from Luxaza, the sticks that I tried, those are a huge pass, but I honestly love these. I was wearing these to work all the time, so purchase from me. Next eye products that I have, we're getting into the new makeup territory. Now, about half of what I've got today is a new release, and then the other half isn't. So I'll try and call out like what's a new release and what isn't. These are the single glitters from LA Girl. They come from the Euphoria collection that just launched, and these came in a set of 3. These are their face and body glitters, probably like the least interesting thing that came from this collection. They're fine as glitters go. They're not revolutionary. I feel like the purple one, for whatever reason, performs better than the others, but you have to buy these as a set. They're just glitters. Honestly, I don't know if I'll declutter them or hold on to them, because sometimes I like to play with glitters. So that either means pass because they're like $12.99 for the set, or they're just absolute makeup graveyard. They're decent. They're not terrible. They're nothing to write home about. I do think some of the palettes that I have that have pressed glitters are a better formulation than these. I just don't know that I love LA Girl's single shadows or potted glitters or potted duochromes very much. I just don't think they nail the formula. I think they come close. I just don't think they do it. So I think these are a pass, honestly. The next one I have is an eyeliner from Essence. This was a new release when I picked it up, so it's got to be like a 3-month-old product at this point. This is the Stay and Play Gel Eyeliner. This is supposed to be waterproof and long-lasting. I have mine in the shade Very Berry. I use liners like this all the time to tight line with or to go into my waterline. So I try and get pencils that are waterproof and long lasting. This is just a bad formula. It bleeds very, very quickly. It transfers, it smudges. It basically just doesn't do its job because it says it's long lasting and waterproof, but neither of those things seem to be true. I'm sorry that this is a pass because it's so inexpensive, and I was trying to find a waterproof liner that was drugstore and like less expensive, because a lot of the ones that I have, they either come from Wear Beauty or they're more on the expensive side. So I would like to find one that's inexpensive. This just isn't it. It doesn't do its job. It's a pass. So let's move on into foundations. Neither of these are new. You guys are just new to me. So the first one is the Airbrush Flawless Finish foundation from Charlotte Tilbury. I have mine in the shade 3 Neutral. I picked this up to do a full face of Charlotte Tilbury. I also wanted to do like a full review of the line, so I tried to get as much from her line that I didn't already have in my collection to really just kind of complete it. And I was surprised I haven't tried this sooner. I didn't realize that this was a more mattifying, like luminous matte foundation. I don't know why by the name I thought that this was a more like lightweight. This is gorgeous on me. Like, I thoroughly enjoy this. I think that it does have alcohol in it. I also think it has like a perfumey fragrance. So if either of those two things bother you, stay away from it. I think if you have dry skin, you're also going to want to stay away from it. But if you're like me and you want your foundation to really last without looking super dry, and you want it to be more mattifying, but not like completely mattifying, I mean in that it like doesn't look overly dry, I honestly think this is amazing. I don't know why I didn't try this sooner. If you have combo oily skin, alcohol doesn't bother you, fragrance doesn't bother you, I think this is an awesome one. I was enjoying it every time I wore it, so this one's a purchase. On the other end of the spectrum, I have the Revlon Color Stay Full Cover Foundation. This one is in the shade 110 Ivory. This is also a mattifying full coverage foundation. I have been wanting to try some drugstore like full coverage mattifying foundations lately. This is like a whipped textured foundation. It's very, very thick. I think you need less is more with this, and I think if you go in too heavy, this looks super dry. I really do like this, but again, less is more, or I think it has a tendency to look both cakey and dry. Not a good thing, but you guys saw how much I applied, and I think that's really the ticket. So if you were looking for a mattifying, like long wearing foundation from the drugstore, this is definitely one to check out. It says it's 24-hour wear. I don't think it's that long. Like, it definitely comes off on me. It doesn't stay all day, but it's, whoo, I think this is probably the mattest, most long-lasting foundation I have in my collection by far. Let's move on into 2 concealers. Both of these are new releases. The first one that I have is the All Hours Precise Angles Concealer from YSL. This one has like an interesting doe foot applicator. It's supposed to be kind of pointed so that you can get, like it says, precise angles. You can get into certain angles, you can get into your inner corner. It's lightweight and it doesn't crease on me. The thing is, it's YSL and it's a pretty high price point, and I feel like it's very light coverage on me. My favorite type of concealer is medium and creaseless, and I'm usually not interested in building up a concealer, so I need it to be kind of medium on the first go round. That's just my personal preference. And I don't think this is. I think you do have to build it up. I like it. It's just very, very light. And I have very, very light concealers from the drugstore that do similar things that don't cost YSL pricing. That's honestly my pragmatic view about the whole thing. I don't think you need it. I think I'll reach for it because I have it and I like it. But if you asked me, I could recommend way cheaper ones. I just think it's a good concealer. The next one I actually do think you need to pick up if you're like me and have similar preferences. This is again a new release. This is the Serum Concealer from Lancome. This is the most liquidy, lightweight concealer I've ever tried. When they say serum, they mean serum. It's medium coverage right away. If you guys are looking at me applying this, it's way better than the one from YSL. It just offers more coverage. This is probably one of my favorite concealers right now and nearly edging some of my top ones just out of their place. There's no scent on this like there is the foundation. This one also has like a similar doe foot applicator that's like the YSL, that it's kind of pointed so you can get kind of in the inner corners with it. I don't have anything like this. If you guys have tested a serum concealer that's as watery as this one that doesn't cost this, like please let me know. I would definitely love to check it out. But as far as like everything that it does, I don't have anything that performs like this and still looks as beautiful. So this is a huge recommendation from me. Okay, let's move on into setting powders. I just have one. This is a brand new release. This is the Easy Bake and Snatch from Huda Beauty. I have mine in the shade Cupcake. I love this powder. I know the loose powder is super popular, and even with my oily skin, I don't love it as much as I love this. I feel like this looks way more airbrushing. I'm just a pressed powder gal anyway, so this one is a huge recommendation from me. I honestly think that this powder is finely milled enough and light enough that you can go in with a light layer for people with dry skin, and I feel like it still works really well for me, kind of going in with a heavier layer because I have more oily skin and I really do try and mattify. I just think it's so good. I honestly think this is one of my favorite pressed powders. I prefer this more than the loose powder. So if you're like into the loose powder and you haven't tried this, I think you guys would really enjoy it. Huge recommendation from me. Let's move on into bronzers slash contours. The first one that I have is from the drugstore. This is the Revlon Skin Lights Prismatic Bronzer. I have mine in the shade 110 Sunlit Glow. Picked this up at CVS not that long ago. So beautiful. You guys, this has like the coolest design. It's sunlit and it's prismatic, so it has a little bit of sheen to it. I love it on the cheeks. I even love it on the forehead. It's not that expensive. Their Skin Lights highlighter is also just super amazing. I just think this is so good, and it's a bronzer that I think about reaching for. It has warmth to it, but the warmth makes sense because it's so like lightly luminous that it like genuinely looks sun-kissed on the cheeks. I just really enjoy this, so I think this one is a purchase. The next one I splurged on. This is not a new release. This is the contour. It's called the Face Trace Contour Stick in the shade Biscuit from Westman Atelier. I picked this up for like $48. I know they just came out with the mini, but I ended up getting the full size at Sephora. I think this is really good. It's, you know, a cream to powder finish. It's very nice. It's very easy to apply. Do I have other sticks that perform like this in my collection that earned $48? Yeah, probably. I personally like luxury beauty. Like, I like sprinkling it in. It makes me feel good to have some luxury in my collection. But this also has a tone that's just appropriate for a contour stick, which luxury and high-end tend to screw up quite a bit. So for its formula, for its kind of appropriate shading for a contour stick, I think it's a purchase. But I would say get the mini, don't get the full size, because, you know, I just think these are hard to go through. Packaging, super luxurious. So, you know, if you're into that and you guys haven't tried this, it is a good one to try out. So I do recommend it. The next one that I have is not a new release, but it did just come back in stock like a couple months ago. This is the Bariti Bronzer from RMS Beauty. This doesn't have a shade. That's the only thing about this in this line, is that this only comes in one shade as far as I know. It's got this like very fine reflective pieces in it that make it look like slightly luminous on the cheeks with a really deep reddish undertone, and so it's really cool. But I also think it's a super buildable formula, so even though it only comes in one shade, I still feel like you can build up the depth on this. I think it's unique in my collection because it is that luminous cream that has adaptability and is like a reddish undertone. I've been thoroughly enjoying this. I don't necessarily love it on the forehead because I like to keep sheen off the forehead for the most part. I don't know why I'm like that. I would just rather use like a contour or a more neutral matte powder on the forehead, but I think this is delightful on the cheeks, so I think it's a purchase from me. The next one that I have is from Iconic London. This is the Precision Duo Contour Pot in the shade Light Shadow. This product comes with two different products or two different formulas. So the top one is powder and then the bottom is a cream. And I feel like the cream is a little bit more neutral, so you're supposed to lay it down first, but you could also use it just by itself to contour with. I think the one at the top that is powder, it has a little bit more warmth to it. I didn't like the fact that it was extremely small when I bought it because it's high priced, but I did get this on sale, but I still think I spent $19 on it, even on sale at Sephora. This powder shade though, is super unique because it's like so lightweight and like airy and bouncy that it feels like a cream. So when I first tested it, I actually did think that it was a cream. I thought, oh, they're lying. Like this is definitely a cream. But I think this is good to wear on its own. I also think that if you use the cream underneath and you wanted to like set it down, you could use the powder like I did today. I don't think you need to run out and get it. I thoroughly enjoy it. Plus I think it's cool for travel and you get like a cream and a powder. So I don't know, I really like some Iconic London products. So the stuff that works for me, I tend to just really love and gravitate towards and think about using. And that might not be everybody's personal preference. I just happen to think it was a pretty good product and I think it's a purchase for me. Okay, we are moving on into blushes, you guys. This is the biggest category. It usually always is because I'm such a fan of blushes. These next ones are all three from RMS Beauty and they are brand new to her line within the last like 2 months. These were a shade extension. So I picked up the 3 shades. She just launched a 4th shade, which I was like, oh gosh, you know, like now I need to go and get that one. But that one was pretty recent. I want to say within the last couple of weeks. These ones launched before that. So I picked up all 3 of the new shades. So the first one that I'm showing you guys is Coeur Royale. The second one that I'm showing you is Bohemian Girl, which is like a peachy shade, very light peachy shade. And then the third one is Crystal Slipper. These are called her Redimension Hydra Powder Blushes. The one that I'm putting on is in Coeur Royale. It's my favorite shade. All of these seem like they'd be super pigmented, but if you go in with a super fluffy brush, they're more buildable. If you go in with a little bit more of a dense brush, they pack a lot more pigmentation right away. They have like this really fine luminosity about them. The design is cool, the packaging is cool. These you can take out. These are like refillable components. Ooh, I just love these. These are a 10 out of 10 for me. And honestly, even though Coeur Royale is my favorite, I still feel like this one in Bohemian Girl is kind of one of the more unique ones in my collection. It's like this peachy champagne. It's like a highlighting blush. I don't know, these are just fantastic, huge recommendation from me. The next ones that I have are liquid blushes. These are also fairly new releases. I just tested them longer than I should have, but I got them right when they launched. These are the Love Steady liquid blushes from Moira Beauty. The more mauve-y shade or pinky shade is in My Darling, and the peachier one is in Honey Pie. These are very reminiscent of the Rare Beauty Soft Pinch blushes. They're also very reminiscent of the Juvia's Place ones. They have the same texture. They're just super lightweight and super pigmented, and they travel super far. They're like the least expensive version of Juvia's Place and the Rare Beauty ones. If you guys like either of those formulas, you would love this. There's nothing wrong with these. Again, super pigmented, also very long lasting, pretty good shade range, and just more affordable. Love the big doe foot applicator. I don't know, these are just honestly a 10 out of 10. These last all freaking day long. And if I'm being completely honest, I probably like these more than the Rare Beauty and the Juvia's Place ones. I think these probably mirror the Rare Beauty like matte formula a little bit more because they do dry down to like a matte finish, whereas The Juvia's Place ones, I feel like the way that I apply them, they have a little bit of radiance to the cheeks, and I just don't find that these do. So these are a purchase from me. The next one is also a new release. I've heard so many different people like pronounce this in different ways. Prisme Libre or Prism Libre blush, whatever the heck it's called. It's the new powder blush from Givenchy. I have mine in the shade Voila Coral. It's like a coral shade, basically. I think this is really pretty. I was surprised at what this ended up being. It's more of a buildable formula. I honestly don't know why I thought it was gonna be more pigmented. I just did. Maybe it's the shade itself. It's light. It's a buildable formula. It's very airbrushing. Overall, I just think this is a really like sophisticated, light, airy, airbrushing, buildable formula that I feel like a lot of people could really enjoy. So this is a recommendation from me. The next ones that I have are the blushes from Made by Mitchell, the liquid blushes. These are not new releases. I just wanted to try these for a while because I wanted to get into more indie brands, but also because I just love cream and liquid blushes. The more pinky shade, I have no idea because the sticker fell off. I'm so sorry. I will post it in the comments below, but the other one is in Peach Sugar. These are actually different than a lot of the ones that I've been testing lately. These are a more whipped texture. They're like a putty in a liquid form. They're really long lasting, really pigmented, but yeah, they're just this very kind of dry putty formula that's just very different than like the Moira ones that are just super emollient and like liquidy, but I still like them. The ones that are very similar to this are from Beauty Bay, but I haven't finished testing them. But that formula is so much more dry than this. This one has a little bit of emollient. Super easy to work with. I really do enjoy these. I've tried a couple of things at this point from Made by Mitchell, and I like these and I like the highlighter, and basically everything else that I've tested at this point, I wasn't really a fan of. Like the lip glosses might have been okay if they didn't come expired. The eyeshadow was just meh. These are probably my favorite from the line. So those are a recommendation from me. Okay, more blushes to go. The next one that I have is from Half Magic. This is the Cheek Fluff in Don't Be a Doll. Everything comes in like egg carton packaging. It's all compostable. This is like also kind of a putty formula. It's on the drier side. It's not overly emollient. If you can get a dense brush, it's pretty darn pigmented. You don't need a lot, but if you use a fluffy brush, it's like really airbrushing and it diffuses so nicely onto the cheeks. I thoroughly enjoy this. The only thing that I'm concerned about is how hard I've had to dig in the pan at this point. I don't know if you guys can see it, but I can already see the imprint of the pan in there because I've dug so hard, and I feel like maybe it's more of a buildable formula with like a fluffier brush that I was like pouncing it in. I feel like I'm going through it a little bit quickly. That's the only downside to this. Otherwise, I think the formula is beautiful. I think the packaging is honestly fun, but for formula, I definitely think this is a purchase. The next one that I have, not a new release, this one is the Sigma Cream Blush. This one is in Corta Rosa. It's like super emollient because it's this lightweight balm, but pigmented like a cream to powder. I personally really enjoy it. Offers a little bit of luminosity. I think it's long lasting. I love the shade in Corta Rosa. What I will say about the shade though, in this particular shade on my skin tone, it tends to come out more warm toned and it looks super like cool toned in the pan. At least to me, at least from here, at least when I'm looking at it, looks like it would come out more like mauve, and it ends up coming out more warm toned. Formula, balmy, little bit of radiance, still performs like really well pigmentation wise. Fan, purchase. Yes. The next ones that I have come from a collection. These are from Kaleidos. These were from the Alma Viva collection. They're called their Mono Blushes. The more pink shade, I guess, it's kind of like taupe, is in Angel Wing, and the one that's more brown, I suppose, is in Hot Shot. Now, I think these are really soft, really airy, very airbrush looking on the cheeks. Hot Shot though, I was using as a bronzer. I even bought this with the intention of being a bronzer because this is not like a shade that I would wear as a blush, but I do think it's a good cool toned neutrally shade if you're into blush shades like this. I just wouldn't wear it as a blush. I like a little bit more pigmentation than that and a little bit more color. I think these are just makeup graveyard though. I mean, honestly, out of all the blushes that I have in my collection, these don't stand out to me. They're some of the more like powdery. I think that they don't stand out to me for the reason of kind of just being a lighter powder blush. If I was gonna like recommend any of them, this Angel Wing is probably like a super unique shade in my collection because it's just on this like super cool toned like peachy shade that I don't really have a lot of. But even for my super fair skin, this doesn't show up a lot. So if you're actually into blushes like that, where you want a little bit of something, like just to look a little flushed, but not a lot of pigmentation, this would be a shade that I would recommend. I think they're gonna be makeup graveyard. I just don't know if I'm gonna remember to reach for this particular formula. The next one that I have is the Pretty Fly Cream Melt from Doll Beauty. This one is in the shade Dolladay. I think the most unique thing about this is the color. The shade here is really unique. It's again like a peachy champagne color, which reminds me a lot of the one from RMS Beauty in the shade Bohemian Girl. It's like basically the cream version of that. This has a powdery texture. It's not like a balm. It's not like a super emollient, dry down to a matte finish. It has a little bit of luminosity and it's almost like a little bit of a cream putty formula. It's kind of cool. I mean, I think it's a little bit makeup graveyard. I don't necessarily like remember the formula. I remember the shade more than anything because it's just champagne-y peach. So I like that. I don't think you need to run out and get this though. Like, I think if there were other cream ones on the market that I don't know, that perform better, that I remember more. It's nice, it's not bad. I don't think it'll disappoint you. I think that there are better ones is what I'm saying. The next one that I have is the Blush Mallow Soft Blusher. This one is from JCat. This one is in the shade Sweet and Chic. Interesting formula. When I first got it, I was like, did I buy a cream blush? Like I wasn't sure this was a cream blush because it looks kind of powder in the pan. It's definitely a cream blush. It's the kind that like has so much pigmentation that you could swatch this all the way down your arm on one swatch. Every one of their shades in their line is super vibrant though. They don't have any neutrally tone shades. Like they're really vibrant. And for that reason, I don't recommend this product because I tested this shade. I think it's just too much for me. And I think this was the one that I would probably reach for over like the other ones more than anything. So I think it's a cool, almost putty formula. It's a drier blush. I like the price point on this. If you like the shade, it's a recommendation. If you don't, pass. The next one that I have, it's kind of a new release. I've had this for a little bit. This one is the Makeup Forever Artist Blush. This one is in Spirited Sienna. I have no other blushes like this in my collection. Nothing even like this comparably in shade. This is the most terracotta sienna colored blush that I have. Don't mind mine. It did come broken from Sephora because I had it shipped. But this is the softest powder formula blush I have ever tried. It is so smooth. Again, it's kind of one of those that you could swatch it all the way down your arm. Super unique shades in this line too. It's a little bit of a high price point. So if it wasn't unique, kind of how I feel about the Contour, the Contour Artist Bronzer that came out, which I tested much sooner. That one was like, okay. It had a really good neutral tone, but I don't feel like it was as soft of a formula as this one is. So, oh boy, you guys, it is so soft. It's like, I can't even describe it. And the shade, it's like not only massively pigmented, it has like these shimmery gold in it. I think this is worth spending your coin on, honestly. Oh, and I wanted to mention, if you guys don't like a really pigmented blush, then stay away from it because it's massively pigmented as you saw, but also this lasted all day long. I think it would last through a hurricane. That's how long lasting, almost staining this formula is. This one is actually probably my longest lasting powder blush in my whole collection. That's saying something because I have pretty big blush collection. The next ones that I have were new releases when I got them, but I got them like 2 months ago, maybe a little bit more at this point. These are the Soft Serve blushes from Cara Beauty. I think it's pronounced, not Cara Beauty, I don't know. They're the Lip and Cheek Whips. The red one is in the shade Cherry on top, and the more orange, like slash terracotta one is in Cara Cara Mousse. These are such a unique consistency. They're basically like soft serve ice cream in a pot. That's what they are. They were like a drier putty formula that added oils. Like something about these makes them super creamy. Even though they're like this putty, it's really hard to describe. It's basically like you poured soft serve and squished it into a plastic pot. They're so pigmented though. I don't get a ton of use out of these because they're so pigmented and so vibrant. And the shades for me, I mean, they don't diffuse out very well. So they basically look like what they are in the pot on your cheeks, which is like super bright. I think these are awesome. I mean, you do have to like get them ordered and shipped from Los Angeles because I don't think they have a storefront, but I like a lot of Cara Beauty stuff, especially like the eyeshadow world. I think these are really unique in my collection. I just don't think I'll reach for them because of how vibrant the shades are. But if you guys like vibrant shade blush and you have a deeper complexion, like these are awesome and just different. We are on into highlighters. Both of these are new releases. The first one that I have is from LA Girl. This is again from the Euphoria collection. This is their iridescent highlighter. It's in the shade Dazzle in a Daze. They only came with one highlighter in this collection, so there aren't more shades. It's a pretty shade and it's honestly like a really pretty effect on the cheeks. The problem is it's a super powdery formula. When I'm applying it with a fluffy brush, it literally gets all over my face and into my eyes and my eyelashes. I don't love the formula. I like the shade. I'm gonna hold on to it, but it's makeup graveyard. And for you guys, I think this is a pass because I just don't think the formula is that good. Like there are a ton of other drugstore formulas and powder highlighters that I just feel like are a lot smoother than this one. The next one that is a new release is a recommendation from me. This is the Redimension Hydra Dew Luminizer from RMS Beauty. This one is in the shade Prosecco Fizz. The downside to this, even though this is a new release, is that there was only one shade in this. So far as I know, this is the only shade that's out there. I think it's really pretty. It's like a goldy brownish kind of undertone that I feel like works really well on fair skin. Super smooth formula. I think it's pigmented and like super light reflecting, but I also feel like it's a buildable formula too. Like you don't have to go in super heavy if you don't want to. So I don't know, this is a recommendation for me. And I told you guys, like the packaging is just super cute. The design is super cute. So I think about this. It stands out in my mind. So I feel like this is a purchase. Now back onto the mattifying train. I picked up a mattifying waterproof setting spray from One Size. This is the On Till Dawn setting spray. I don't know if I'm a fan of the propellant cans like this. I think it's probably the best setting spray that I've ever used because I feel like a lot of them just don't do anything on my skin. They don't lock my makeup down more than a mattifying foundation does. And then I still get oily no matter what I do. I feel like this one works a lot better than a lot of them. Again, I just don't know that I love this propellant. It can be pretty intense if you guys are watching the cutaway. And like, don't get it in your eyes. It's gonna burn like crazy. I've made that mistake before. Because of the propellant, it's just, I don't know, it's a little bit more intense. You just can't control like where it goes as much. I think that if you have oily skin and you're fighting the oils, the makeup not lasting, then you should check this out. I think this is good for a specific audience. I do feel like I would repurchase this. So for that reason, I feel like I have to say it's a purchase for you guys. We are on into lip products and I don't have that many compared to previous months. So the first one that I have is the Prism Lip Palette from LA Girl. This is such a pigmented emollient formula that's like staining almost. It comes in basically a rainbow with a glitter on the end and a little brush. It's pretty affordable. This was a new release, I want to say 3 months ago, and I bought it at Ulta because I thought it was just kind of cool, little artistry palette. I think the lip formula is honestly freaking amazing. You guys, it is so pigmented. And a little bit goes such a long way. I don't think the shades are very easily mixed together. At least what I was able to like get out of it, it just kind of seemed like the last shade that I applied ended up being like the color of the, I don't know, the lipstick. But I think it was kind of fun. Like I think this is super cute and good quality for like Halloween makeup. And I think that I'll probably end up like giving this to my daughter if I don't end up holding on to it because I do think it's good quality. I don't think it's trash. I don't think I have a need for it. And if I could customize the colors a little bit better, I would probably hold on to it. But because I don't think they're super customizable, then I'm just basically getting like a full range of rainbow colors for lipstick. And for me, I don't really need that in my life, but I do think it was fun. I think it was good quality. I just think it's makeup graveyard. The next one that I have is not a new release. This is from Half Magic. This is the Magic Drip Glitter Lip Gloss in Frosty Bitch. Been testing quite a bit of Half Magic stuff lately, so even more to come in future speed reviews. This was okay. I'm really into glitter lip glosses, holographic lip glosses. I keep saying this in all of my videos, and I think this is pretty. It's just that the glitters are super gritty. So that I don't love about it. And I have some ones that have glitters in them that aren't gritty. So by comparison, I feel like those ones perform better. So for me, I think this is Makeup Graveyard. It's not my favorite glitter lip gloss. I think it's pretty in cute packaging and like not bad quality. And also, I don't know why, but the doe foot applicator is too small for me. I would prefer something bigger, especially for like glitter, because I feel like I'm building this up, and I just don't like it. I don't like it. I wish it was a bigger doe foot applicator for the formula and the fact that it's glitter. So Makeup Graveyard for me. The next one that I have is from Charlotte Tilbury. This is the Kissing formula in the shade Pillow Talk 3 Intense. Another Makeup Graveyard item. I thought the Kissing formula in my mind was like a cream formula, and this is more like a satin. Like, it's not overly emollient. It's more like a longer lasting formula. I feel like the Kissing formula is really popular in her line. I was expecting a little bit more creaminess, not overly creamy. And I think it's nice and pigmented and opaque. I think though it's meant to be more of a long lasting formula than it is a cream formula. And I think that's where I was like thrown off. And so for that reason, I feel like there are other ones at the drugstore that do this, Charlotte. I don't think the Kissing formula is quite honestly the most unique that I've ever tried, but I hear such good things about this. So Makeup Graveyard for me, not an outstanding formula for the price point. The next one is a new release. This is the Light Lock Lip Gloss from About Face. This one is in the shade Angel on Fire. Also great shade, by the way, and it has tiny little sparkles, so it's a little bit like light reflecting. But this basically could be a lip oil. That's how smooth and like non-sticky this is. And still, it has the capability of lasting a decent amount of time. I don't find that this fades off like super fast. I don't know if you guys can see like the tiny little bit of reflex in there. Plus this packaging is just amazing and super sturdy. And this doe foot applicator is just super unique. So everything about this lip gloss is a purchase from me. And the very final product, you guys, also sort of new release, not overly new. I didn't get it right away, even though I had it in my cart. This is the Juicy Glass Lip Oil from Kaja. This is in the shade Rose Hip Spritz. Really cute, kind of small for the price point. Comes with a little like jewel at the top. It is what I'm wearing on my lips right now. So it is very juicy and nice and like shiny and light reflecting. It's a little bit of a stickier formula for a lip oil. It's almost like if you told me, like if you switched these packaging and told me this was a lip oil and this was a lip gloss, like I would 100% believe you, but it's also not bad. And it's kind of cute. I just, I don't know, like I'll use it up because I like it. But then if I'm thinking of other lip oils on the market, I feel like there are softer ones that are less expensive than this. If you guys want me to give you some recommendations, I can. I think it's good. I think it's a purchase if you like lip oils and you like Kaja. And that's all for me. I hope you guys enjoyed today's video. I thoroughly enjoy doing these speed reviews. I hope that you guys do too. I really try and be very down to earth about these reviews. I love consuming makeup, but do I think you need to run out and get everything? Abso-freaking-lutely not. There are a ton of products in my collection that just sit there after I'm done testing them. And I don't think they changed my life, but then there are some things that I can't stop thinking about that I absolutely love. So I try and be really pragmatic when it comes to my reviews, and I hope you guys enjoy. If you are not currently subscribed, I would love to see you subscribe so that you can come back and join us for the next speed reviews. I am out of here, and I hope to catch you all in my next video. Bye guys.